But if you look at the Mohonk conferences, it's not going to be just like Albert Smiley shaking the hand of a foreign leader. You look at the pictures, they line the halls actually, I recommend they, you take a look at them. Louise actually showed me them. But when you see the photos of the Mohonk conference, you see 100 people sitting on a hill, really showing that like, you've got to bring everybody in if you want lasting peace. So to create global structures that create this lasting peace, everyone's got to have a seat at the table, just as they did at the Mohonk conferences that happened right in this year. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Eli. Oh, excellent. And thank you for the water for what's happening in a few minutes. But right now, I would like to take a moment with Nina Smiley. And as you come up, Nina, would like to recognize that, you know, this weekend is the first time we understand that the Mountain House and Mohonk Consultations are completely merged in putting forth an event at Mohonk Retreat House. It's magnificent, we have to tell you. Thank you. And Nina, I know you shared quietly with me how Bert and yourself have been so supportive of Mohonk Consultations throughout the years, and we just want to say thank you.
Thank you all. I'm just very touched to be here. And as we look forward to the future of peace, we also look to those who came before us. And calling out Albert Smiley, founder, and A. Keith Smiley. Keith Smiley, also an Albert K. Smiley, who founded Mohonk Consultations, and also my husband Bird, also an Albert K. Smiley, and supporting Mohonk Consultations. So it's very, very special to be here with all of you. Thank you. I wanted to say a few more words about mindfulness and also some of the themes that I've been feeling and hearing throughout the weekend. And one of them is simplicity. Letting it be simple. It's very complicated, building peace. It's also very simple, and not to lose sight of that. Also call out the word spaciousness, because as we build peace together, there's a spaciousness within each of us, and there's also a spaciousness that we enter together. Mindfulness, being present in the moment, one moment at a time, simply aware of what is another thread. It's another opportunity that we share. And the concept of peace, being in right relationship to self, others, and all that is. So as we did yesterday, I'd like to just do a minute of clearing the mind and calming the body as we begin the rest of this session. And to set the intention of deep listening to others, and deep listening to ourselves, deep listening within. Because as we listen within today, we become more and more aware of what we're taking home with us. And that's going to be the ending conversation here. So if we close our eyes for a moment, setting the intention of deep listening to others, to yourself. And let's take another moment to be present together. To feel the shared energy in this room. To feel how we are each and all part of this living tradition of Let's Talk It Over at Mohonk. Breathing gently, breathing fully. Being present in this moment. open to what is resonating for us, to what we will bring home. And as you open your eyes now, gently letting in a little bit of light, see with new eyes. Notice the colors, the shapes, the textures around you. See with new eyes. See the possibilities. And I'll end with a quote from Albert Einstein, who was a hero of my husband. Bert loved Albert Einstein. We have a huge collection of Einstein books at home. And a bird story. There's a tradition here where we have executive trading cards at Mohonk, and there's a different theme every year. And one year the theme was all of the senior executives here, choose your superhero. And your superhero is put with you dressed up as that superhero on this trading card that you give to staff. And it's worth $1 at the gift shop, so everyone gets a treat for smiling and just being part of the community. And the choice of superheroes was really interesting. Someone was the Hulk, someone was Superman, I was Catwoman, and Bert chose Albert Einstein as his superhero. And I was so touched by that. So, a quote from Albert Einstein: "Love is the answer. Love is the answer. So please take in the simplicity and the spaciousness of his words. Love is the answer. And be mindful, be present, bring peace wherever you are." Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, we're going to give you a little assistance now to come up here. We're going to welcome Lindsay Mayer, Isabelle Nascimento, Samantha Mandel, and Casey Arnold. So let's sing a song to bring them up, right? This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Zior, can I introduce Brad? Thanks. Which means you're now a runner for Brad Mikes. Everybody tells me I'm very good at voluntelling. Thank you. All right, so let's pour some water for ourselves and take a deep breath. Pour some water for yourselves down that end. Oh, whoops.
Can't hear you.
I was talking to them, that's why I was just pour some water and take a deep breath. You can do that too if you want, but we'll give you a chance to pour some water in a minute. First, we're going to pay attention here. So, we're in for a treat with these 4 young women in front of you who are going to give voice to the future of peace through their perspective. And I'm going to first introduce the 4 of them to you, and then they will each speak. So you get the whole picture of who we're hearing from. Because actually, after sitting in circle this morning, ladies, we're quite a team. So, and if you just raise your hand when I say your name. Lindsay Mayer. Lindsay's an undergraduate in the Global Engagement Program actually it's the International Student Program and Global Engagement Program at SUNY New Paltz with a focus on international relations. And Lindsay, maybe you want to say a word about yourself.
Sure.
I'm a senior at SUNY Paltz, and I'm an intern at the Unitarian Universalist United Nations office, and I focus on climate justice.
Casey Arnold, you raise your hand. And Casey is a junior at Rondout Valley High School in Accord, New York. And she is president of the Human Rights Club and a local activist. Casey, maybe you want to say a few words.
So I've been doing peace work with the Human Rights Club at Rondout Valley for the past 2 years, and it's a very empowering feeling to know that you are making a difference in so many people's lives, whether it's politically, socially, economically. It's a great feeling, and I encourage you strongly to get involved in peace work in your community to make a difference.
Nice. Would you like to take another picture? Excuse me, come on, we'll all look your way and smile. Watch this. Nice. Thank you. Isabelle Nascimento. See, they already must know what you're going to talk about. I don't know, or maybe, I don't know, maybe it's relatives. But anyway, Isabelle lives in Brazil. In fact, she lives in a territory of the Amazon, so we are holding her, her family, her community in our thoughts and prayers. And she's doing her master's in humanistic education at SUNY New Paltz. Why don't you say a few words about yourself, Isabelle? Oh, wait, I can help you, but pull your microphone up a little bit. This is why you saw us in circle in the back earlier. But if you need a plug, point in my direction.
Is that working?
Yes. Now we're good.
So I was a teacher in Brazil. Actually, I'm a teacher, but I'm really unsatisfied with our systems of education. So I decided to keep studying, to educate myself. That's why I'm here in America. And this amazing program that is unique at SUNY New Paltz. And I consider myself as someone that is fighting for social justice education. Thank you.
Isabelle also told us in circle that she wants to be heard. And thank you for daring to give voice. But she's going to say that later, so don't forget that. Okay, Samantha Mandel, representing the Bruderhof community, Mount Academy High School, and she is a senior.
So I'd like to share a little on my perspective of peace, growing up in a peace church, and maybe how that could have broader relevance.
I'm going to ask Samantha to say the broader relevance piece again. Lean into the mic. Just so they know that your mic's working. That's what they just asked me in the back. So say your name, say anything, but just so we know your mic's working.
I'm Samantha, and I'd like to share a little about my perspective growing up in a peace church and maybe how that could have broader relevance.
Beautiful. So let's begin with Lindsay Mayer. Lindsay.
Thank you. I'd like to say thank you for this opportunity today, and I plan to talk about climate change and climate justice and the Sustainable Development Goals. So, the future of peace is compromised by climate change. On January 1st, 2016, the 17 Sustainable Development Goals were adopted by world leaders. These goals introduce an integrated way in which we can solve some of the world's most difficult problems. This includes HIV/AIDS, climate change, gender inequality, and poverty, just to name a few. Though, the United Nations has stressed that climate change presents the single biggest threat to sustainable development everywhere, and its widespread impacts disproportionately damage the poorest and most vulnerable. We must focus on climate change now. Advocating for climate intersects directly with goals of peace and justice. We see this especially with the youth climate strike. From September 20th to 27th, this year, all ages protested for climate reforms. The climate strike had a list of demands, and these demands intersected with the Sustainable Development Goals. For instance, the youth climate movement is stressing the need of the Green New Deal, as they demand an equitable transition for marginalized communities that will be most impacted by climate change. This includes working with communities of color, impoverished communities, disabled communities, and the LGBTQ+ communities, who are at the front lines of all climate disasters. Taking action towards climate change is also taking action for justice and peace. As the climate is warming towards 1.5 degrees Celsius, we already see climate catastrophes occurring and resulting in conflict. One major conflict I can point to is the Syrian civil war. One could say that the global warming was one of the root causes of the conflict. From 2006 to 2007, Syria had a major drought. Climate scientists have linked this drought to a long-term global warming trend in the Eastern Mediterranean. It's also been linked to the onset of civil war because drought pushed people into cities, creating a demand for jobs and resources during revolution. According to the 2018 IPCC report, the climate crisis will bring an influx of disasters as the climate is warming. What we really need to do is focus on Sustainable Development Goals 16 and 17, which is 16 is peace, justice, strong institutions, and 17, partnerships for the goals. We can only limit the effects of climate if states and civil society partner together. In the wake of crisis, strong institutions are essential in instrumenting and carrying out mitigation and adaptation policy. And right now, the climate movement represents both SDG 17 partnerships. It's functioning from NGO partnerships, and only through collaboration can have an effect. We see this with groups working on climate action, like the United States Climate Action Network. It has 175+ organizations working under